Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Good afternoon, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are you? Well, if you're anything like me, you are totally and utterly pissed off. You know, this is football, it's a sport. There are winners and there are losers. But to lose a game in that fashion, and you know, we always used to complain and say, oh, the referees were shit and the referee can't see this and the linesman can't do that. And the idea of having VAR, where there's an extra two, there's not just the VAR. YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV, please get over there, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It all helps the channel. It was Brighton versus Leicester. And before I bring Brad in and before I look at any comments, I'm going to have a rant. I warned Brad that this was going to happen, so he's kind of expecting it. But do you know what? Somebody said the other day, we're watching the Naples game, and the referee was pretty shit in that as well. And people, I think somebody posted to me, wouldn't you like that standard of referee in the English Premier League? Yes, I would. Because do you know why? The referee the other night was a damn sight fucking better than half the referees that we've got in the English Premier League. And the fact that some of them are actually sat on their arses with a nice warm cup of tea, or probably a little whiskey, if truth be known, at whatever park it is where they're based, St George's Park, watching the game. And I think they must have been actually watching the West Ham Man United game, because they couldn't have been looking at our game and taking the decisions in. I mean, the penalty. And I'm going to show you a picture here, because you're telling me that when the defender, when the ball hits the defender, now yes, he's got his arm up, but it looked there like the bloody Brighton guy was punching him. And you're telling me that was still giving us a penalty? I mean, the referee, the linesman, they're on the pitch. But I mean, the VAR sat and they're looking at that at 3 or 4 different angles. And then there's a photograph. They must have had that sort of angle. What were they doing? And our disallowed goals. I mean, I tell you what now. I tell you what we do. We need to get people in to the refereeing positions that know what they are doing. Now, at the moment, years ago, you say, oh, they're only amateurs, they're not professionals, and we were supposed to make them professional. Oh, they're not professional. They're just fucking shit. They wouldn't last 5 minutes if they were working that sort of standard for a company. And I know there's probably not even 10%, let's say 5% of footballers get a decent wage, and when they finish playing, will go on and work for Sky, go on and work for BT, Amazon, etc. But there's 95% of players from the lower leagues that when they finish their footballing career, end up as a plumber, end up as a painter. Do you know what I'm saying? Postman. Why aren't those people being employed? Because they understand the game. They've played the game. They know, and they would bring a little bit of sense. And I use the word loosely when you come to the PMGOL, whatever it is. But, if we gave these ex-players the chance to do this, they'd look at that and go, yeah, you couldn't have helped that. That wasn't deliberate. Yeah, if we'd lost, and I thought we started well, then Brighton were all over us. So if we'd lost, fine. But I tell you what, I think there's 2 people, certainly one person sat down there at St George's Park or wherever it is, watching that game, that is going home tonight with his wallet a little bit bigger than he went in. Because there's no way that guy wasn't paid off to make those decisions. Do you agree with me? Well, let's have a look. Munzi, good evening. How the devil are you, sir? Great show all the time. Thank you very much, sir. Chelsea Perspective, hello and welcome to you. How the devil are you? Why isn't Roger starting Kelechi after his brilliant form last season? We have asked that question. We have asked that question a few times. Facebook user, at some point today, Rodgers should have called his players off the pitch. You kind of agree with me. I don't know whether we'd get away with that. We might get into a little bit of trouble for that. But I think certainly somebody at the club should grow a pair of balls. And no, I don't think Susan, the chief executive, should, because that would be genetically impossible. But somebody needs to grow a pair of balls and actually complain. Wrong team selection again. Only started playing when we were losing. VAR was terrible. I think I've summed it all up. Well, we'll come on to the team selection. I was quite happy with that, to be honest with you. James, good evening. So how the devil are you? I think you've probably answered. You know the answer to that one already, young man. David S., I have a terrible headache after that match, Chris. Hope you are well anyway. We actually leave. Brad will tell you, we actually leave about sort of 20 minutes to kind of calm down. I ain't fucking calm after that. I ain't fucking calm. Munzi, we never played well either, matey. No, but you got the win. 2-1 Man United. Well done. Chelsea Perspective, the truth is, if you play well enough to win, you will win. I don't know. Do you? You can play brilliantly. And if you've got... we're playing against 11 men, the ref, and a couple of VAR people, will you win? Munzi, I guess you mean Man United. No matter what the ref. Yeah, it's not the ref, it's the VAR as well. I'm sorry, Chelsea. Come back to me when you have a VAR decision go against you and you lose a match. Come back to me and then say, we were playing well. We should have won that. Come back and talk to me when that happens. Hi there, Chris. Hi there, Facebook user. Don't know who you are. Static, good evening. So how the devil are you? Arsenal fan, 2 wins out of 2. Arteta in. The process might be working. It's Stockley Park. Thank you very much. Problem is, I wanted to say Rockley Park, which I knew was wrong, but is just down the road from me here in Poole. It's a caravan park. And if I said Rockley Park, it'd be wrong. So I went for St George's Park, because at least it's kind of linked, you know. Bit harsh that. I don't know what's harsh there, Munsey. 100% a big brown envelope was passed to an official at half time. Yes. The ref for the United West Ham game wasn't great either. Not sure what was worse, the starting lineup or the refs. Both were shocking. Oh, we'll come on to that, David, and good evening. Thank you for joining us. How the devil are you? They did have one in the FA Cup final, to be fair. I live around Brighton and I'm going to fight our corner. 3 shit decisions, absolute disgrace. I'll be interested to see what dear Dermot says on Sky. It will be interesting. It doesn't matter what he says now, it's done. We've been fucked over, haven't we? But anyway, I might not be the only person that feels this way, but some would call him the voice of reason. Some people would say the voice of normality. And other people would say, he's just Jesus.
With Chris and Brad on Leicester Till I Die TV.
Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, it doesn't work. Brad, good evening, young man.
Good evening, mate. Well, I suppose it's a good evening. It's not really, is it?
No. I did warn you I was going to have a rant.
Yeah, I could have gone and made myself a cup of coffee. I don't know.
James, no, Leicester aren't being found out. I think we're finding out the VAR officials, to be honest with you. You know. Before we get into the match in detail, a quick summary. I say this to you in hope more than expectation. A quick summing up on your feelings.
I actually think he's right. I think Leicester have been found out a little bit. We can talk about the decisions all day. I'm sure we will talk about them in detail later on. But at the end of the day, actually, I think Brighton figured us out. I think teams have figured us out. When we play with that one in up front, teams know how to deal with Leicester. I didn't see a great deal from Brighton at any point to really warrant them being 2-0 up, if I'm being honest. But they took their chances and we couldn't hit a barn door for the majority of the match until that wonderful goal that we scored. And it was wonderful, whether it's on a losing side or not. You know, that expression, some goals don't deserve from the losing side. Well, they were for that, the way that built.
I haven't seen it yet. The what I was watching kind of froze.
Yeah, I watched the highlights on my Sky Sports app, so I got to see it again. I did catch it on a replay on my stream. But yeah, to be honest with you, until we changed the shape a bit, we were actually figured out. I was actually sat there watching the game and thinking they figured out how to play the system. We can't afford this. And on another day, we'd have turned that round and been talking about a great comeback from 2-0 down to winning 3-2. But here we are talking about 2 on defeat.
I messaged you sort of about 10 minutes into the game, and we were all over them. I mean, I know possession isn't the end of the world, but, you know, it was 75% possession. They don't think they had even got into our half in the first 10 minutes. And then it all kind of went a little bit pear-shaped.
Yeah, but again, you look at the actual game itself, take away, unfortunately, the elephants in the room in the 3 decisions, aside, the penalty that obviously they were awarded, the header at Welbeck seems customary against us, if we're being honest. Welbeck scores quite regularly against us. Is one of the clubs that when he's fit, he finds a way to score past. Sod's law. But apart from that, I don't genuinely. To me, there wasn't we have to take into a fact that something that might seem disappointing because we were expecting a better result against Brighton, but Brighton weren't warranting of being 2-0 up, really. It was that old commentator thing. Leicester in control. Leicester looked good. Leicester came out of the box. But the second Welbeck made it 2-0, Brighton have been controlling this game. Don't listen to the commentators. Just watch it. Honestly, the game wasn't a 2-0 scoreline by any stretch of the imagination. It shouldn't take a team to be 2-0 down to then suddenly find a gear, but I can't help but feel that wasn't coincidence to the fact that we changed our shape a little bit going into that game when Brighton were defending for their lives. That warranted a better performance all round from Leicester in the second half, because I don't remember seeing a second half that sounded like it had that many chances in a game without us putting the ball in the back of the net legally.
Yeah. This is Roy. Yeah. I mean, Roy, on Facebook there, you're not agreeing with Brad, and that's fine because, like I say, many times it's all about opinions.
That's fine, mate.
Message me if you want. I'll send you the link and we'll get you on. Were you there at the ground? Are you coming back? Are you driving home? Train home? If you want to come on, message me. I'll put the link in. And I tell you what, in fact, I'll do. Here we go. Me and Brad aren't always right. It's all about opinions, but we put ourselves on the stream here with our opinions. And people can agree or disagree with us. Might not have agreed with my rant at the start. This is why we have these things, so we can have discussions and Brad's points are as valid as everybody, as indeed yours are, Roy.
Yeah, definitely. That's his opinion. I think he went to the game. He had a better view of it, a better opinion than me. That's the joy.
I mean, the interesting thing is
he's doing it differently. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is when we come on to Alan's man of the match and ratings and what have you, I kind of, when he sent them through, I sort of had a sharp intake of breath. And it was. But we'll come on to that later. But I mean, Facebook user here again. Stick your name at the end back, guys, because if I'm not on Facebook, which I have to come out of this to go on to it. I can't see who you are unless you click on the StreamYard link. But basically, you're saying the first 10 minutes we were great. We were. And then until 60th minute, we did disappear. But the question of the decisions did come in those minutes at the end of the game when Leicester controlled it. Maybe the first call for offside was warranted, but the Ndidi goal should have stood. Sorry. I could have written that myself. Yes, those first 10 minutes. I messaged you, Brad, didn't I? I said, we're bossing this. Everything was clear, passing around. And then I sat in, and every time Brighton went forward, I'm like, oh, shit. What's going on? Scott, welcome here. What do you think of the game, Scott? I know you watch the games. Well is obviously a debatable question. Maybe worth dropping points. So Brendan drops Maddison to be Gavin Cup captain. He needs to be dropped behind Lookman, Nacho, and even Perez. Well, Brookline. Good evening to you. Welcome to you from America. How the devil are you? Rich, bad week for Leicester. Well, to be honest with you, no, I'm going to say no, it's not a bad week, because do you know why? 2-2 against Napoli, who missed out by a point from being in the Champions League. They're probably apart from Seville, they're probably the strongest side, and Atletico Madrid, the strongest side we've played in Europe since we got back in. So, Rich, no. Play this back, Rich, and you'll hear my thoughts on shall we say, the officiating. But I'm going to say here, Brad, we've had some very good seasons under Brendan Rodgers. And since we've won the league, we're perhaps thinking we deserve more than we actually get. But for the first time, I mean, if you take the last 2 years, and I was looking at this earlier, I think after 5 games, we were 4th and 5th. We've actually sat in 12th. So maybe this season, we're going to be the team that maybe comes up from behind and the pressure won't be on us quite as much as it has been where in the previous seasons we've been at the front and we've had to, we've been setting the pace and we couldn't keep that up. Maybe this season we're going to do it a little bit differently.
I think we're going to have to. We're going to have to do it differently. And like I said, I stand by what I said. I feel this rotation, as in rotating the ball back to the start with the goalkeeper / centre backs, to spreading it to whoever's the stronger winger, in their opinion, because they do predominantly focus down either the right or left side at times, Leicester. It's not until they start spreading it about on either side a bit more that they become a bit less predictable, maybe for lack of a better word, predictable. Because I do feel at times we can be a bit predictable. It's easy to moan about how we don't always build up fast and we seem to kick on in the second half. But to me, again, a dynamic in change brings around a faster tempo of football because we're a different shape. We're trying a different method going forward. I do think that maybe plan A, that we have seen for several seasons now, in terms of how long tactics stay around longevity, with the way the game's always changing, there's normally a new tactic by most managers every season. It feels like we're always talking about a different formation that teams play each week. I do feel, though, that plan A has maybe not necessarily run its course, but run its predictability. That's how Leicester are going to start. They want to feel as that we get on them, we can get these moments. Brighton got their moments today at the end of it, and that's why they've come away with the 3 points. We had our moments, but they just didn't fall in favour of us with VAR decisions. Yeah. Again,
Andrew
we could go
says
on VAR, but that's how it was.
Andrew says that I hope we win the Europa League because the way we play, we won't be in it next year. Let's go past this game, and you know my thoughts. I mean, I said my thoughts at the start. We are only 5 games in, guys. I mean, there's still 27 odd game. No, 23. 22, I can't do the maths, but there's a lot of games still to go. So, look at Liverpool last season. Let's not sort of start painting it all doom and gloom. And I don't think it'll be a bad thing this year that we're not going to be sat in that top 4 for 37 weeks, and come the 38th week, we drop out. Andrew says we should have snapped Arsenal's hand off for Maddison. Would you say that? I mean, let's be honest. How many people, and they've gone very, very quiet this weekend. Oh, we should have kept hold of Demarai Gray. Oh, Demarai Gray's being fantastic. Everton got stuffed 3-0 this weekend. Let's give these players a chance. We looked at Gray over 3-4 seasons, not 3 or 4 games, and it's the same with Maddison. We know what Maddison can do. Let's just, maybe he needs to be taken out that spotlight a little bit. Maybe he does need to be given a rest. And I think Brendan did the right thing in taking him off this time. Could Barnes have avoided Astorco being offside for those 2 overturned goals? I don't know. What do you think, Brad?
Well, you're not allowed to stand near the goalkeeper when a corner's taken now, because that's something that really baffles a lot of players. And let's not have short memories, guys. Norwich, Cantwell, in the vision of Schmeichel, by a sponsor on the heel of a football boot or by half a yard, it doesn't matter. He was deemed to be obstructing the view. And we benefited from that. Your opinions are going to be either what whole soul that VAR was wrong on both of them, or there's going to be a small percentage, maybe more. I don't know, but I'd suggest a small percentage might be saying at least one of the two has a case for it, and I'm one of them. I think the one where maybe there's a bit of rough and tumble with him, I think it was the second one. Okay, you can maybe account the VAR has a way of going, oh well, he is standing next to the keeper, But I would probably say that at least the Lookman one, he's not the Flash. He's not Adama Traore quick. He's not Usain Bolt. He was out of his way. There was no excuse. I'm sorry, I've seen the replays back, and I'm pretty sure it's the Lookman goal. Harvey Barnes isn't blocking Sanchez. Sanchez can see that ball. He can see that it's come to Loopman. He can see where it's going. He ain't saving it. There ain't no contest. There ain't no decision. That should stand. Does the goalkeeper play up to that, knowing he's got one decision and realise he's not saving indeed his header, and that's why he makes sure he's there and getting close to Harvey Barnes? You don't know. Guessing it for weeks, mate, and not know the answer because only the goalkeeper knows on that scenario. Does the rule then need to be coming in that you can't stand next to the goalkeeper at corners and just completely protect goalkeepers? Because they're not. I'm a goalkeeper myself, mate, and I'm
really?
not fond. Yeah, I know. And spoiler alert for those that are new, right? But I've never actually been fond of coming for a ball, catching it, getting a little shoulder thing, and then not having that feeling that I don't have to dive on the ball because the referee's going to give me a free kick. And lo and behold, even if I dive on the ball, free kick, referee, keeper's been touched. There's no point standing next to the goalkeeper if the referee's going to give the decision or class it as offside or class you as interfering, no matter where you're standing, as long as you're in some form of vicinity. Clearly, that's the ruling. So I think all teams should just not bother marking the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Standing there and to point him off because it's obviously going to cost us more than it is.
Pico Tom, I love the name, mate. Welcome along. How the devil are you? Hopefully the questionable decisions stay at the beginning of the season. Brookline, Barnes looked like he did not know the rules and did not recognise there was no Brighton player on the post. I guess he's doing what he's being told to do by Brendan Rodgers. Somebody go and stand close to the goalkeeper.
You can't tell me that's not instructed if it's twice happens and twice the same player. I could understand if it was a different player and it was slightly different, but it was the exact same incident, the exact same thing, but two completely different scenarios in a way of the reason from the understanding of the offside is because Harvey Barnes is interfering with play by where he's standing. But if you look at the angle that you got shown on the Sky Sports Mini-app replays that I watched, Barnes is turned like that, and there's the goalkeeper clean sign the ball. That's the one I have the biggest issue with. If I'm going to flare up any of the VAR decisions in this game,
Andrew asks why was Vardy marking Welbeck for their second goal? Again, I suppose he's got defensive duties, hasn't he?
You'd have to ask Rodgers because I didn't know. I couldn't quite make out who it was that was marking him.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. With my stream.
David, good evening, David. How the devil are you, sir? For me, that Norwich is a goal as well. But those two disallowed goals are an absolute terrible application of the offside rule. You need to be actually impede the keeper and not just stand near it. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I mean. If you're saying they're not goals, then the new rule should be don't stand within, 2 yards of the goalkeeper.
Do you not think it's almost
It's
almost like a case of we don't want football to be fun anymore.
Yeah,
and I go back to the fact of the VAR possibly isn't wrong because, we were saying it can't be human, decisions anymore. The refs aren't always up with the play, blah, blah, blah. Let's bring a machine in, give it a few years to settle down. It's been a few years now. And I don't necessarily think that VAR is not fit for purpose. I still say it's the people that are running it that are not fit.
The people that are running it, Chris, the people that are running it are giving robotic responses.
That's I would
understand. I would understand if a robot programmed to read the lines on its computer system to detect what is onside and offside, looked at decision, he would have gave it as offside because Harvey Barnes is stood in an offside position, you could argue, obviously in that case. So the robot would rule it out. A human with a bit of common sense would go, he's not interfering with play, that's in the rules. He's not obstructing the goalkeeper's point of view. It's not offside. No. The humans are giving robotic responses, and that's what's annoying people because in the Euros it was so smooth.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that much of the ramp up and then comes back to basics in the Premiership.
Do you think, Brad, though, that what I was saying before is you need people that understand the game, that have played the game before, that can look at something, can see it from a footballer's point of view, basically, because how many of the referees and the linesmen and the fourth officials and the VAR have actually played the game? We are
I don't know.
fans. We are fans. We've watched games. That doesn't make us experts on going in and making these decisions.
No.
But
No.
ex-football, and there's plenty down those lower leagues that finish football and have got nowhere to go. You look at the guys that we speak to, Julian Watts, Steve Lynix. None of them are sort of pundits or in football anymore, unless you call coming on Leicester Till I Die being a pundit, of course. But players that have played the game within the pyramid and understand it, they should be making these decisions. They should be looking at it and saying, right, and looking at it with those footballing eyes. Like Andrew says, Robocop would have been better than VAR.
Or,
it's probably true.
Or maybe, just maybe, right now, just hear me out, because it sounds far-fetched, but it's based on something we can actually bloody well do. Maybe we look at all. I know you could probably find a clip in the last 6 or 7 of these done where I make the same statement, but I'll make the same tied statement. How about we just simplify our communication between the fans and VAR? How about we do what we hear in all the other sports? It's not a myth. It's not, it's not some one of them legends that you think are real or might not be. They're not from ancient Greek times. It's not mystical creatures. What we need to do is take a leaf out of the other sports that have used this system way before football got it. Have communication so you can hear the referees on the other side going, okay, we've put the lines up. Yeah, Harvey Barnes is stood in an offside position and we feel that he's involved in play. We're going to rule the goal out for offside. At least then it feels like the decision's a bit more honest, doesn't it?
Yeah, but even if you've still got the same monkeys making the same decisions, it's the monkeys that I've got the problem with. Is the fact that the people
saying that, because be careful saying that term, because YouTube and Karens out there will take what you're saying out of context, mate. Just so you're aware. I know what you mean, and I'm sure everybody that's actually switched on will know, but just be careful with people out there hearing that terminology. Don't want people making any conclusions about that.
I know what you're saying, but if we can't, it's like me saying, is it wrong to call them a tiger? Is it wrong to call them a
it will be
lion?
It will be. That's the thing, but
But no, I know what you're coming from, and I just think that is ridiculous as well. But look at this, mate. Look at this.
But if you see it, and exactly, if you see that, right? Yeah, but if you've got a review panel that review every decision after the game, right? There are these trained professionals that you talk about, like ex-pros. That's where I'd have them, because then they can look at the incident.
Then it's too late.
I know it's too late now, but then it becomes an issue they can fix in the future. Or you have it throughout, so then these incidents are less and less. So you've got them not just at the back panel, but you've got them there live at the place where they do the checks, right? If you have it throughout them and the review panel's made up of the same pundits and the same people that do these things, you might just get it a bit better. But right now, until you hear an open communication, you're not gonna have a group of these experts who, let's say, they don't jump in straight away, but they look to make that change down the line through, I don't know, processing, maybe contracts. They've got to have it this way for a year, whatever. Maybe they decide to do a rehiring, and in that time they have them in the bowl going, right, here's our review panel, Leicester Brighton game, here's the instance, and that referee goes, I don't see why, or I agree with that decision. He has a real big case to argue why them decisions were or weren't given, depending on your point of view. And then he goes, this is a consistent thing with this referee. He needs to retrain, or this needs to happen because these decisions cannot get taught. He cannot be on the panel making these decisions.
We've been talking about this, though, for so long now for me. And to put, the point is we're reviewing bad decisions after the game about decisions that have affected the game. When you've got people that aren't up to doing the job and aren't appear to do the job, replace them with people that can do the job. If it's an ex-football, and they're not going to get everything right. I'm not going to say that you put ex-footballers in and suddenly you get 100% correct decision.
You're still going to get
the odd thing, even with VAR. but it's just, it's no, when Sheffield United go down instead of Aston Villa, sorry, or is it whoever went down instead of Aston Villa because the ball never went over the line? You can look at that afterwards and go, "Oh, it should have gone. That shouldn't have been a goal, or whatever." But it's too late then. A club's got relegated that shouldn't have got relegated and has lost millions.
Yeah.
And I just think it's not that it's the fact that we've been doing this for so long now. We've got people that are officiating the games that have never, in the majority, have never played the game. So how can they understand it? It's like you've got a sales team and you bring in a manager who hasn't never worked in that environment before, but he's suddenly your team leader. How does he know what decisions to make, how to monitor, what's affecting it? He doesn't. And I just think there's this great majority of players that are out of the game that we're just not. And it's not. I've not just come up with this idea. It's been muted even before VAR about getting them in to be refs. But maybe it doesn't suit the FA's criteria because maybe suddenly you might get teams like Brighton, like us, like West Ham, suddenly challenging the top six because we're not getting Fergie decisions. We're not getting biased decisions at all. And maybe the FA are running scared of that.
That's the clubs to do something more about. We can only do so much as fans. They're not going to really care too much of fans' opinion of VAR in the weirdest sort of way. Like, they'll acknowledge a big concerning rise in it. They'll obviously get feedback from all the big wigs that talk about it and then go on about it and would have broken down the decisions in this game in the studios today. They'll obviously know about it. Whether they'll do too much about it unless the clubs start complaining about VAR, which they have done. Unless them complaints continue to rise, they'll see it as trust. They'll give it the Arteta, mate. They'll say, trust the process. We'll iron out these things. We'll fix it one problem at a time. And yeah, but the problem is this is all seemingly based off one person's decision. And we know there's several referees that would give that penalty. That would baffle us, but you just know they'd give it. And then there's several referees that wouldn't give it. And they're the ones that there can't be any of that. You don't really get that in other sports. They eliminate that by giving, and I'll say it again, umpires calling cricket. The umpire's given the benefit of doubt in cricket if it's an appeal and their original decision say he's not out. And in them decisions, if let's just say he doesn't give the penalty initially and it doesn't go to a VAR check afterwards, but like he did and that, and let's say he decides it's not, and then the VAR goes, well, I don't see enough to overturn that decision. If you don't think it's a penalty, I can't see anything to suggest why you've not given it, or he thinks it is, and he goes, no, you're completely wrong there. There's contact with the ball in the arm that has to be given a penalty. I'm going to overturn my decision. There's clear contact, penalty awarded. Again, it's an open communication they have with cricket. You hear it on the tennis, you see it on the rugby. There's no reason football should be this inept with the technology they've got. If we're going to have a show about that, that's the genuine long and short of it, mate. There's no way VAR should be as inept as it is and so secretive to the crowd. Even the visuals that I see sometimes that get played, it's like I said to you, mate, it just feels a bit more honest having a goal robbed off you if you can hear the reason why that person's robbing the goal off you. As daft as that might sound, how much have you felt better hearing communication when you're watching something like that? And
I get your point there, because you're looking, you're trying to understand their mindset, why you would hopefully understand why they've made that decision.
Yeah.
But look, we can talk about this until 10 o'clock tonight, and we probably will if we carry on.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the team that was picked. What did you think? I looked at that, and I'd be honest with you, you know, I could see, yeah, Pereira came back in. Bertrand obviously went off a little bit later. I think he'd played a lot, but Samari was in. I could understand Vardy starting because he only played about 5 minutes of the night. I didn't think it was a bad team all in all.
No, and there's been a few people that, again, they have their opinions and entitled to it. That's completely fine. But a lot of people have been jumping straight on the lineup, saying it was a terrible lineup. I would argue against you guys saying that I don't think the lineup was actually that bad. I just think, like my statement before, where this is where I sort of agree with you. I think what was terrible about the lineup is its slow, predictive way that Leicester are doing things. And, you know, I will support the fact that I think something needs to change in that start. Either things that were done to manage through the games on how we decide to build up play, or a slight shift in the dynamic of the formation. I do feel that something needs to change from that, because if you was to pick passages of play at random from the Leicester games that have played so far, and you were told, okay, here's one from the Wolves game, find one that matches, you could find an instant that matches the same slow build up that leads to a grinding halt because they get men behind the ball, and you'd find it happening 2 or 3 times a game. And it seems to be because teams are now preempting, right, if we push that side when they go to the left, they'll just give it back to Sonju, Evans and Bertrand or whoever's there, and then we can get our shape. Get men behind the ball, put pressure on them. They have to go back. We get our shape. Something definitely needs to change, and nobody here can sit there and say something doesn't need to be tweaked, because the tweaking, funny enough, we used to have a manager we called the Tinker Man. That little tweak helped with obviously the goal, kick Leicester on in that second half, and ended up making us look like a team that got robbed a bit, that we didn't get at least a point from the occasion.
Yeah.
If we're being honest with the performance and not VAR, you know what I mean? If I'm trying to break down two separate
I know Brad would agree with this. Get Muzzy out of retirement.
Yeah, bring him back. Come on. Get more stuff on.
We've brought back Ronaldo. You know, we've got Steve Walsh, Matt Elliott, Muzzy is it? They're all still in Leicester. Let's get Gary Lineker. He's not working for BT anymore. He could put his boots back on. I just want to slightly go back on this because it's a point Scott makes. So though we have now moved on from the VAR, but just very, very quickly, I get what you're saying, Brad, but would you like to see captains or managers given 3 chances to challenge a decision? I think that just slows the game down too much, doesn't it?
I kind of get the concept. I would make, but that's what I mean. You take your own twist on things. That's all other sports have done. They're taking their own twist on the basic rules and made it so there's clear communication between the ref. There's clear communication between the ref and the players. Oh, wait, everybody can bloody well hear it. So there's clear communication all around. So at least, like I said, you don't feel cheated. Maybe don't have the 3 appeals things, but there is ways you could maybe work that into it. At the end of the day, an attack, the referee goes, no, that's not a penalty. He goes down in the box. The striker goes, he's clipped me. He's had me all day long. If you only get 3 or 2, maybe be very strict with it. I can see how you could serve it into the game, but I also I feel like there's too many negatives to it. I think maybe you chop that part, the aspect of it from cricket, but you keep the fact that if a referee doesn't give a penalty and then, you know, the other team convince him to look at VAR, or VAR says, oh, we need to have, you know, if you don't make VAR someone that interrupts the game and something the referee goes, original decision, no penalty or no goal, I'm now going to consult VAR because it's a penalty, it's an incident. And I'd keep it something like that. I wouldn't make it for everything to a degree, unless you could figure out how to do it. But in that decision, VAR decision, he goes to the monitor, he looks at it. Oh, okay, he's actually dived. There's no contact.
Yeah, I'm just going to round this off now because, like I say, and then we can move on. But spot kick. This is just the latest reports. The referee did not initially award the penalty, gesturing for a corner instead, but changed his mind after a conference with his assistant. There was no doubt that Vestergaard's right arm was raised high in an unnatural position when it diverted Duffy's header off target. However, Leicester argued that the flailing arm was the result of a defender's left arm being held down by Maupay, impeding his jump, and were furious that the video assistant referee did not intervene. So, I mean, there's another take on it. Who knows? But anyway, the match. I mean, let's have a look at some details here. I know you're not a great one for stats, Brad, but you got to say, looking at that, probably Brighton kind of deserved it. Again, we had 62% ball possession. We just didn't do anything with it. 14 shots, but only 21% on target. Everything else, I mean, touches, we had more, passes, we had more. What were we doing? I just, and you look at those figures, you've got to say it was probably closer than the actual match was.
Well, what we was doing was putting the ball in the net illegally twice and shooting from the edge of the box with absolute daisy cutters, with probably a vent of frustration and I don't know, just frustration hit with them. This, it wasn't any. I wouldn't say they weren't obviously not confident, but it wasn't any like real zest about some of the efforts from the box. They seemed to be hit with, I'm just going to lever this and hope it goes in the top corner. They didn't seem to have that typical suave delicateness, the way Tillemans and Maddison usually get the ball. They were hitting shots, but with a lot of purpose of frustration, but no direction and no realistic chance of going near the target to a point until the latter stages of the game, where obviously we ended up hitting the bar. Sorensen had his header that went out there, couldn't keep down. The two illegal goals, and it was just that was it. Unfortunately, we also didn't help ourselves by putting ourselves in a position to have to come from 2-0 down. Let's not forget that. Contentious or not, say what it was like, we should have been at least in front before Brighton had VAR rule in their favour or not, or whoever from whatever reports or whatever. Around about a lollipop and a bear came together and made the decision in the end by the sound of things, and I believe you at this rate. But it doesn't matter. We should have been in front in that game for the control we was having in the first half. We shouldn't have found ourselves conceding early in the second half. We should have been more switched on. We did give way to some daft free kicks that had my heart in my mouth at times. They were just as bad for it. In the balance, probably a point would have been a more fair result, but I'll refer you back to my catchphrase, mate. It's how many times you put the ball in the back of the net legally that matters.
No, you are, as always, sir, quite right. And I've been critical of Brendan not making changes soon enough. He did make one at half time this game with Mr. Maddison coming off and Mr. Lookman coming back on. He's, no pun intended, looking good, Lookman. But I kind of want to sort of temper my enthusiasm, and because I was kind of like this with Under this time last season.
No, but this time I feel like I'd be more surprised if there wasn't a lot of people that are impressed with parts of what they've seen of Lookman so far. I would agree with you because I made the very bold statement about Soyuncu. I feel that Evans aggravating his heel shows that even Brendan thought the bit parts he was getting was a risk. Too far for those that moaned that he was coming on for half an hour. Shows how desperate he was to get back to match fitness. And that's probably why. Well, that's why he didn't start today. I said Soyuncu maybe needs to come out of the limelight. For how long depends on how well the person who comes in does. He'd have to probably earn his spot back more, maybe than Maddison, because I think Maddison, we all know the quality he possesses. He's just a far cry away from at the moment. But I would suggest taking along with you, Chris. Take him out of the limelight. Get Loopman the start. He's clearly hungry for it. He'll feel he was robbed of a goal because that was very sharp. Forget that it didn't count because he wasn't offside. He wasn't the reason it didn't count. His reaction to that diving header or whatever it looks a bit weird from the angles I was given to look at it from, was instinctive. He was good. He was instinctive. He was getting in positions, and I also felt that when my stream went down and I had to listen to it through the radio, I felt we were more involved in an attacking sense and he was always a part of it. I always was hearing his name. I was hearing him with the ball. I was hearing the crowd, and that's one thing I'll point out. Whether it was stream or by radio, maybe it was just a choice of where the commentators were, but we sounded very, very loud. Considering we were the away fans there, I will give a massive shout out to our support that went to the Amex because they sounded very loud. Did the boys proud with the singing. I forgot we was away from home at some points in comparison. So that's one positive I will definitely add on today's game to say that about the crowd. But yeah, it was one of them. It just wasn't to be in the end. But I would suggest maybe Loopman's warranted giving himself at least the first half of the game instead of having to come on, because we've not brought him on to change the game, have we? Really, we've given him something to give us something stable and sustainable and of the same quality maybe, but never anything to step on and completely take the game by the scruff of the neck, which, like, I feel at parts he did.
Yeah, Pico Tom here. I don't think that Lookman will buckle because he's been there, seen it, had the T-shirt with Fulham, so he knows what it's all about. Scott says here, Soyuncu and Pereira seem to have a good partnership on the right-hand side of defence. Bertrand taken off after 68. I think he was just a bit knackered, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's played a lot of football. I see that as purely what it was supposed to be. And again, we did feel a bit more excitable going down on that attack, didn't we? Going down on our left side, I felt like all of a sudden Harvey Barnes was able to find the ball in a more aggressive attacking area than just out on the left. At times he found his way into the box. I mean, again, forget the incident. It's kind of Sod's law that it wasn't counted, but it was nice to see a goal from a corner from us.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to look at another positive, we did say we don't score from corners a lot. Unfortunately, when we do finally score from corners, it doesn't count.
No. This is
you have to take them instances as they were. It wasn't like he was 2 yards off and it's something that was never going to count. It's one of them that unfortunately has gone against.
Let's not start this VAR discussion again.
Yeah, but you get my point from the goal itself.
Yeah. JJ, hello. Thanks for joining us. How the devil are you? Maddison non-existent once again. We've discussed Maddison, and to be honest with you, I think we've said maybe it is time just to give him a few games off and take him out of the spotlight for a little bit. Now, Brad, this time last season, like I said at the outset, we were sat in 5th place. 2 seasons ago, we were sat in 4th. 12th at the moment. Arsenal have got the same number of points than us, and Brentford are sitting above us. Too early to worry, surely.
Yeah, it is. I think there was definitely signs that you see that Leicester have got fresh ideas. They have very capable and hungry squad to go for it, and they know their roles very well. Despite my opinions that people may take grimace with, they know the starting system very well. They know how to go about it. They know their jobs. They know their roles. It doesn't always perfectly come off with some of the passing and the way we've given the ball away over time over the first five games or more. If you want to include the cup competitions that we've played in as well. I would say we're getting closer to seeing Leicester being a bit more fluent. Maybe that's all it needs to be. It just needs to be a bit more fluid in that system. Maybe it will be a system change. Time will tell. But I do feel that we're just a few tweaks away from getting Leicester up and running. It's got to happen soon, though. Otherwise, there will be concerns. We can't keep going assuming we win our next game, we can't keep going at a 50-50 win rate.
No, and I'm just looking here, and Chelsea have just gone 1-0 up against Tottenham, by the way. That's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Shame about their title.
My worry is, and I agree with you that it is way too soon to start looking at this, but the start that we've been given this season, and let me just get rid of that, the start that we've been given this season isn't the most difficult one by any stretch of the imagination. Apart from Man City and Man United coming up in a few weeks, we've played teams, all right, you could argue West Ham, but we've played teams that we should be beating, and we're not. And that, I can see why a couple of the fans are getting a little bit concerned. Had we had the start where we were playing Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, then you could say, yeah, maybe 6 points isn't too bad. But, as we just saw then, 6 points from 5 games, isn't it, we've played, isn't brilliant. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. Not with the easy start that we've been given.
Well, yeah, but I think people are probably being a bit critical, to be honest with you. You say we haven't beaten the teams. We don't do well against West Ham. We never have done well against West Ham. They're probably one of our bogey teams. I know it doesn't justify the performance. I'm not trying to justify the performance. But, again, I think people are reading too much into the performances and not the actual results. We played Wolves. We were expected to beat Wolves despite our ball draw history with them. We beat Wolves. Norwich got 4 points off us the last time they were in the Premiership. By hook or by crook, we managed to beat them. So we beat the teams that are around us. Just today was a bridge too far. I think we just did a too much at the wrong time, and again, to the cows come home. I'm not repeating it. The incidents happened in the game didn't help this scenario, but we have to look on the basis of the whole. Some players probably need a bit of a mindset, a bit of a mind refresh, because I'm not excusing the performance. I agree that I think it was subpar again. The most subpar he's been. I didn't even know he'd started, to be honest with you. I saw him on a team sheet and thought it must have been a typo because I didn't really hear him too much in a threatening sense or see him on the ball. For me, if you get into the mentality, and people can say what they like about how much they earn and they should be able to get through it, it's not actually that easy. When you go through, and he probably has for the last 12 or 14 or more games, Maddison hasn't seen out 90 minutes. And Brendan Rodgers has to manage that. Say what you like about form, but it's, form's temporary, class is permanent. And if Maddison and Brendan can find a way to snap him out of this funk and get him going, not only will we not get goals from Maddison again, we'll get 90 minutes from Maddison again, an entirety of 90 minutes. And that's just certain things that need to click. Yeah. And it needs to click quicker because we will start getting concerned. As of right now, it's not quite a concern. Ask me in 5 games' time, and I'll give you a different answer, I'm sure.
Yes. JJ says there, with the quality we have in our team, we should be beating Brighton whether they're on form or not. My thoughts exactly. Okay, let's ask people now who their man of the match was, because I'm sure you've seen this already. And we do ask Alan Bennett, our match day invigilator, if you like. He walks out the grounds, whether it's home or away, and the first thing he does is pick up his phone, and without really much of a chance to think about it, he gives his instant thought on who his man of the match was and how good Brendan was and how good the team was. And what we've also got to remember is as well, he was there. So he was seeing off the ball incidents that we don't see, people how they were playing. So I think Brad knows what this is. But he gave man of the match to Lookman, and I from what I saw and heard, I think that's pretty much not a bad shout. Manager, he rated 4. Maybe he wasn't happy with the subs, and the team 5. Thoughts on that, Brad?
People might say that the 4 and 5 is a bit harsh. I would argue that my points that I've exasperated about the first half and the shape would suggest that I'd agree with that. And to a point, I do, because let's look at it in the context. Let's look at it in its basic form. Whilst I could defend the fact that we have beaten teams so far, like the Norwiches and the Wolves, I will say that we should have come away from this game with a result. You have to remember, high-flying teams, they have their seasons. We've seen Southampton up there, we've seen Everton up there, we've seen bloody Ipswich's, Leicester, funny enough, up there, Wolves are up there, Burnley's up there. One team like that every so often has a very good season, and maybe one or two of them do it for a few seasons consistently, like Leicester and to a point Wolves were doing out of them teams. And you have to remember that these teams, you have to give them the respect they deserve, because whether they've been finishing 17th for 20 seasons in a row, they've been in the Premiership for 20 seasons. Brighton are on form, they're at home, they were probably expecting to get a result from this, which they have in turn. And if we're being brutally honest, all you can do from this is learn and make sure that this is one of the very few games that Leicester go to lose, because we shouldn't have been 2-0 down. We shouldn't have been put in a position where it took a change in shape and a change in personnel to give the rocket up the arse that the attack needed to flow quicker, to get these chances on and have these creative players on.
Sorry just to rush now, so we're coming up to the hour. Your man of the match?
The problem is, it's horrible, isn't it, when you've got to give it to a sub who was only on for 30 minutes.
Well, you subs change games. I'm looking at the BBC website here, and their man of the match for Leicester was Vardy. And is it a shame that you got to give it to the guy because he's just scored 1 goal?
Well, no. Again, Vardy was Vardy. I think he's probably one of the only players that either we don't really notice making any mistakes because it's Vardy, or actually just because he's Vardy, he doesn't make these mistakes like we do criticise others for. He doesn't really see a lot of the ball. He's always played that way for many a seasons, as we know.
Just going back, your man of the match.
The fact that Lootman's performance stands out so well, if I wanted to give it for a bloke who played the majority of the game, I'd go with Harvey Barnes. But the fact that I'm sat here telling myself I have to say Harvey Barnes and I'm not instantly picking him makes me agree with Alan and say, from what I saw and heard of the game, he did set. All right, he didn't get the goal. He was unfortunate, but he put in a performance that made you stand up and go, "Hold on a minute here.
We'll take that as a yes then."
Yes, mate. I just like to get the balance of it, and I just try to find a way not to justify it because it was such a small but very impactful.
Do you drive at all, Brad?
I drive people around the bend, mate. I'm very good at that.
I'm just wondering if you actually get from A to B, because there's so many side roads you go off on.
I take the scenic route to D and E's and Z's and W's on the way to B, mate.
I'm not surprised. We'll be... sorry, made me laugh then. We'll be right back after this. So, looking at the weekend's games, full-time scores. Chelsea apparently are now 2-0 up, according to Scott. And Scott, Scott is like as awkward as you are, Brad. He just likes to be awkward by giving the players 5.5 when we don't do half marks. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Scott, I love you to bits, mate. Right, Newcastle Leeds. That was a surprise.
You know what? It actually wasn't in the end for me.
I think you went for the draw, didn't you?
I possibly did. I can't remember.
What you went for on the league, I have no idea. But on the predictions, let's have a look what you went for.
I think I did. I might have just bagged
Yeah,
Leeds.
you went for the draw because you've had a good week so far.
Yeah. Well, that surprised me because I remember just seeing that game and not being able to pick a winner. I think I remember saying something like that. Now you said it.
Yeah. I'm going to pick 2 games out for me that sort of stand out there that were shockers. Man City not being able to beat Southampton and Villa stuffing Everton 3-0 when Damari Gray is, according to Leicester fans, the second coming at the moment.
And but I don't think that was a shock, really. I think the shock, in a way, is the reality of the direness of the club situation was just how badly Norwich keeled. You can't keel like that at home against the relegation rivals. You can't do it. It's only game week 5, and I think Norwich fans are already planning their trips to the likes of Blackpool, Preston, Luton, etc. Because I'm sorry,
none of us went for the Watford win.
No, and that just shows the shock of it. I think that was one of the games that nobody wanted to pin the hopes on either one of them doing something, and you weren't that confident that Norwich could do it at home that much that you probably went for either you put your neck on the line and said the home team were going to nick a scrubby one, or it was going to be a draw. And the fact that Norwich just keeled over and just went, have it, we're done with this division. We didn't like it anyway. Yes. I'm sorry. That was a shock, but not for the fact that it wasn't an obvious result. It was just a shock that a Premier League team could be 5 games into the season. All right, granted, Crystal Palace didn't win in their first 8 games a couple of seasons ago, and now stayed up. Maybe
JJ's making a good point here. Shock was Arsenal beating Burnley.
Well, that penalty decision, the VAR was causing drama all over the globe. Well, not all over the globe, all over the globe. It's a bit of a thing, really, isn't it?
It's like being a bit dramatic, Brad, you know.
Well, yeah.
VAR was at fault and Russia invaded Poland and World War III started. Exactly all down to VAR. You know. But I don't know if you've got to go, Brad, or do you want to stop and do some player ratings very quickly?
I can do it. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the key word there being quickly.
5.
Well, let's go down in the order that the people have voted on the BBC website. We'll start at the bottom, and their worst player was Maddison. So, how many would you give? Oh, hang on. Let me bring this in first of all. That would help, wouldn't it?
No, it didn't.
Is it in?
I don't ask that question, mate. Got to ask it.
Can you feel if it's in there, Brad?
Oh wow, I can't tell that. Disclose that on camera.
Here we go. I've got it in eventually. Story of my life, this one. Scott automatically says Maddison -10. Where would you put Maddison? I'm only going to go up to 7 because I don't think we're going to give anybody higher than a 7. But let's have a look. Maddison. See, I'd be giving him probably 4.
No, 3.
3. Wow.
Yeah, I think he looks a bit of shot of confidence, and that's what I mean by I think Brendan has to do something with Maddison. He has to need to sort it. Really thinks so, Dan. He needs to sort it quickly.
JJ here says Maddison 3. He's agreeing with you. I'll go with that. Yeah, I think we're coming to the degree here that I think Maddison stayed in because he's one of those players that that can probably come on and change the game. But he hasn't been doing, and I think he does need to be taken out of the and given a bit of a rest for a few games. I wouldn't even play him against Millwall. I've got to be honest with you. I stick Kieran Dewsbury Hall on, but second from bottom, moving up with Bertrand.
I thought Bertrand was 5.
Yeah, I'd probably give him a 5 or a 6.
I wouldn't say he was a 6 performance. He did his defensive duties right. Again, so much drama in the game itself. You actually steal away from the minutes that were actually played by both football teams. Brighton had their spells, but we were fairly comfortable defensive-wise dealing with them. Let's be honest with you. It was 2 set pieces that ended up doing it. 5. If you want to put him in 6, I wouldn't begrudge you putting him in 6.
No, we'll go for a 5. JJ says a 5 there. And then after that, Vestergaard. Now, I'm not blaming Vestergaard for the penalty at all here. And I think if we've given Bertrand a 5, I'd probably have to say the same for Vestergaard.
I want to say
I thought you'd gone. I'm on a different screen then, and I thought, I've lost him.
Yeah, I thought I'd get you back for the sound trick you did last time.
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, I think it's only fair that you put him in a 5. I'd be tempted to say he gets a bit of a 6 there.
So we're going for a Vesta 6, or we're going to go for a 6 then for him?
Yeah, I feel like the 2 centre backs. I think we could get Stoyanchu straight in now. I know he might be jumping the queue.
No, he is the next up on the list.
Yeah. I think they had a better game. I don't think you could blame any of them for the goal. I think there's a case to be made for Vestergaard obviously not getting VAR, giving a penalty, or the assistant changing the referee's mind. And I think Stoyanchu probably did himself a little bit of favours having a decent game as a centre back. To be fair, despite the result,
I think he's playing better now. He's on the right, don't you?
Yeah, and people have noted that before, so maybe that's something Brendan needs to keep happening if he's playing Stoyanchu.
Castagna is the next one up.
He came on. He seemed bright. I heard his name enough times going forward. 5. He came on as a sub. I think they were impactful. So, I would go with that.
Samari then is the next one.
7. I heard him in all the right areas. I thought he was probably the most impactful going forward. Obviously, the build-up for the goal and Yuri's pass will do him favours when we come to rating him. But I honestly enjoyed his performance. I thought he sounded he looked pretty sound on the ball. I thought he was probably one of our standout players. Yeah, I agree. I think he was pretty solid.
Okay. Next one up is the Nacho man in Nacho.
5. Again, I think the subset a minimum are a 5. I just don't feel that this time around he was able to impact the game the way he has been all throughout the season so far when he's come on. So I'd give him a flat 5. If you come on and scored, I'd give him a 10. But it didn't happen. So yeah, 5.
The player that's been sponsored or got his own just signed a deal with Clinton's Cards in DD.
A 6.
Really?
I think a bit of justice deserves because again he wasn't at fault, but it didn't count. Enough said. I think he had a bit of a mixed bag at times, but again, when needed and at the right times, him and Samori got things right and did well.
Yeah. Okay. Ricardo Pereira.
5, 6. Again, when it was coming to the attacking sense of things, did things right. Probably gave away a few needless, had a few needless fouls. So I'd keep it.
We'll give him a 5. Yeah, we'll give him a 5. Schmeichel, young Casper.
Didn't no. Do you remember him having to make a save? I think it's a 5, mate.
Yeah. He didn't have
Honestly,
much to do. Although we
yeah,
lost, he didn't have much to do, did he?
yeah, he was never saving the header, and he,
No.
it's a draw with the penalty. So, it's a lottery, the penalty. So
Yeah.
I don't remember him having to do a lot. So yeah, he goes in the 5.
Mr. Luckman.
Okay,
Might have to go up
I'm
to an
going to
8.
give him. I'm going to give him a 7 because he sounded very good. I don't think we can go higher than a 7 because we lost. I think even on great performances, unless you're scoring a hat trick on a losing side, I guess you can't really go over 7. You have to do something really, really well to gain that. Maybe if he draws, I would say a 7. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see all of his performance. I had to hear the back half of it. But from what I saw of it, and from the way he sounded, he continued to play. I think he's a 7. People are saying Ricardo's 7. I could see that. I mean, I'm kicking. Okay, then Schmeichel gets a 10. Yeah. On that comical little thing, I like that. Brookline, yeah. All right. But no, he's saying a 5. He should be able to kick. I'll do a Roy Keane.
Says Lookman. I am actually now.
No, I will bow to that because I didn't see it. I'm going
to overrule you and go just up in that 1 to an 8.
And I'm actually happy with that. I'll go with that because, like I said, from what I heard of, is the only reason I couldn't say more because LCFC radio tend to exaggerate a bit. But if he's that impressive, mate, I'm happy to see him get the 8.
Barnes Jr.
Yeah, he can't shoot though, can he? Sometimes.
He didn't do so bad on Thursday.
No, he found the net then, but there were some shots left to be desired. But I'll give him a 6. I just think he died off at times. Maybe he was pushed out, isolated as well by Brighton. You've got to give credit to Brighton. I think a 6. I think a 7's stretching it for me.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I may well have gone a 5, but I'll go for 6 with you on that one. Mr. Cup winner, Tillemans.
Again, I probably, for his past body, I want to give him an 8. I want to give all them players involved in that action 8. I want to change mate just for that goal. Because I'm sorry, it was a thing of Brazil, as you would say, mate. But I'm going to give him a 7.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
I've got
I would
to.
agree with you on 7. Yeah,
I think he was pretty good tonight.
And finally, Mr. Vardy.
Actually, going to give him a 6. Took his goal brilliantly, smashed it in, caused the mischief as best he could. But probably the one thing that keeps Vardy getting down is when he's not seeing a lot of the ball. He's brilliant when he does with it, but if he's not seeing a lot of the ball for the rest of the match, which in all truth and fairness he didn't, he doesn't get much to do with it. So I give him a 6.
Yeah.
Oh, to just for Scott, I'll give him a 6.5.
No, you bloody won't. If you do that, I'll take him down. David says Ricardo and Luckman. He didn't do anything wrong during the 30 minutes or so he was on. Gives them an 8. Oh, Ricardo 6, Luckman 8. Sorry. We've got here Bookline Barnes 7 minus 2 offside goals equals 1. Tillemans 5 from JJ. Tillemans 4 from Bookline. Yeah, 6 from for Vardy from Bookline, and Yuri 6 from David. So yeah, I think that's pretty fair, to be honest with you. I wouldn't agree. And just now, thanks for doing that, mate. I just want to, before we go, let me just get rid of that now. I just want to just go off topic a little bit here, because I want to say this guy is no longer with us. Jimmy Greaves today, and I know he's a Spurs. He played for West Ham and Chelsea as well. He'll probably be remembered most for Spurs. We forget his contribution when we won the World Cup in 1966 because he wasn't in the final, but he'd played all the games up to then. Those of us of a certain age will remember him as Saint and Greavesy on the TV with Ian St John, the old ITV football program, and he was very much, I suppose, not the Simon Cowell of his day, but he was certainly. He was very forthright, shall we say? He didn't. He didn't. How can I put it? He didn't just say things for the sake of saying. He said what he thought, and respect to him for that. And he had a great sense of humour, and he will be sadly missed. And all our thoughts go out to his family and his friends. And R.I.P. Jimmy. Brad, thank you very much, sir.
No problem,
as
matey.
Always. JJ, great show as always. Chris and Brad, of course, as well. I will see you on Wednesday if you're staying up for the post-match Millwall show.
Oh, I don't know, possibly.
Well, you know, I mean, we might be hiding under the table, you know.
Yeah, hopefully not, but who knows? Who knows? It's going to be an interesting one. I think that people should expect a lot of changes for that game. I feel like this might be the competition that I think is the highest competition for probability that Leicester maybe, unless it gets to what us fans may call the serious end of the competition, may see this as a competition that Leicester used to give players some minutes under their belt that we haven't seen yet or not seen a lot of. Doesn't mean the quality be any less different, because I still feel it could be Patson Daka that plays in that game, gets a run at a Millwall.
I think Daka will start. Definitely, yes.
Do expect changes for it. I think Madison will be one. I think Lukeman could get his start. I think Dewsbury Hall will probably come on, like you said, Chris. I think Thomas will get a game. I think there could be a few changes. But it's nice to be mentioning players of that calibre instead of going, it might be Zach, who's just joined the academy and he's 18 because we've got no one else to put on, sort of thing. And we've never seen him play. You know, you listen to the difference in calibre of player. So I'm still optimistic for Millwall, but I am expecting several changes for it.
Me too. Brad, thank you very much, young man. I may well see you on Wednesday night.
May well, mate. You may well.
Okay, mate. Take care. Thanks for coming on today, and thanks for your input. Take care.
Yeah, no, take care.
Bye-bye. Oh, thanks to Brad. As always, thanks to Brad there. Speaks a lot of sense and shows me that I know very little about football. Thanks for watching, guys. A bit of a long one. Let me know in the comments at the end of the show whether you actually enjoy watching us doing the player ratings or not, and we can see whether we carry that on or not. It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun at the end. Next week, well, we are here an awful lot next week. We're here. You've got me every night. I know, you're the lucky ones. You're the lucky ones. On Monday at 7, we are here with the opposition review. We're having Brighton fan on, who I'm sure will be a lot more happy than we are. We will be discussing and looking back at the game. And thanks a lot, Brookline. Thank you very much for that. We'll be seeing whether what his thoughts on the penalty and the VAR decisions were. I have a feeling they might be slightly different to mine. Tuesday, welcome along at 7 o'clock. Craig, he'll be joining me for the Millwall preview. And then about 10:15 Wednesday night, post-Millwall match, we will be with, if he turns up, Brad. If not, it might be me on my own. Then on Thursday, it's the EPL prediction show. I've had a stinker this weekend. I think I got about 2 points. I've been let down by a lot of teams this week, including Leicester. On Friday at 7, we've got the match preview. We've got the match preview with me and Craig for the Burnley game. And then 5:30 on Saturday, we've got the post-match show with Brad again, following on, looking back at the Burnley game. So we're here a lot. You can't get rid of me. David, good show, Chris. Always look forward to a live show of yours. Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much. Scott says there, thank you for Scott for popping in. Please subscribe and like this channel. Guys, if you can, you're watching on YouTube, give that little like button a press, smash the likes. It does actually help with our YouTube figures. I'm not sure how it works, but it does help with that. You can donate to the channel if you want by pressing the $sign at the bottom. That is always appreciated. And if you're not on YouTube, if you can nip over to YouTube and give us a subscribe, that would be much appreciated as well. Without you guys, it wouldn't be worth us doing this. My thanks to everybody that helps out. Scott, who mods in the chat there, and Brad for coming on and giving us his honest opinion, as he always does. Yep. I don't think I can watch Match of the Day tonight. Can you? I think I might just say something rather loud that I shouldn't do. I've already had my rant tonight, got it off my chest, and it's a big chest to get the rant off. New display behind me, hope you like it. I'll be back, like I say, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with the Brighton fan. Oh, that's going to be rather painful. Have a good rest of the Sunday, and if you're watching it, Vigil? Are you watching Vigil, the new Line of Duty? Yes. Maybe it's H that's doing all the killings.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.